Good morning. My name is Michael Sneddon. Let's see if we can get, okay. I'm the president and CEO of MultiLing Corporation, member of the Utah State Bar Association and the American Intellectual Property Association. I have 25 years experience in the industry. With me today is Mr. Hirohito Katsunuma. We're honored to have him with us. He is a very distinguished patent attorney, president of Kyoto Patent Law Office, one of the very best and oldest, most distinguished patent law firms in Japan. And he brings a wealth of experience. He's a guest professor at the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology. Also, he's on the executive committee of the Asian Patent Attorneys Association. He speaks fluent Chinese. Now, are you going to give your presentation in Chinese, or is this English today? Okay. It's in English, thank goodness. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the interesting aspects of filing overseas patents in different jurisdictions. And lost in translation, there's a case history, a European patent, which was granted in 1999 to the University of Edinburgh. Now, perhaps some of you remember this. This was actually to isolate and select and propagate animal transgenic stem cells. Okay, shorthand cloning. And what happened to that? Well, it involved transgenic stem cells. Now, what happened there? That's interesting. Okay, it was challenged by the governments of the Netherlands. After this was issued by the European Patent Office, the patent was challenged by Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, and Greenpeace. That's an interesting combination. How did this come about? Well, during the actual application process, there was a communication breakdown between those who were translating the French, German, and English claims. So in English, we have a method of preparing a transgenic animal. Seems pretty straightforward. But actually in English language, from a technical perspective, that could refer to an animal or a human. The German, Verfahren zur Herstellung eines transgenen Tieres. Every German speaker would say, well, ein Tier ist kein Mensch. There is no, it's obvious. We're dealing with non-human animals on its face. The French, also the same way. I'm not a French speaker, but that term would be restricted to non-human animals. Unfortunately, for the University of Edinburgh, it could be construed, and this is what the German governments and the government of the Netherlands, Italy, argued, is that, you have actually allowed the cloning of humans, according to English interpretation of the claims. It could be construed that way. So this was a major PR event that was negative for the University of Edinburgh. So even though the German and the French were in alignment, the English was not, and there was this communication breakdown led to actual filings to annul this particular patent. And what was the result? Well, the University of Edinburgh actually had the risk of a complete loss of their patent protection, simply because there was a communication breakdown between those who were responsible for the French and the German and English claims. They hadn't coordinated that. There was a substantial loss of time, resources, and cost trying to go through and clean this up. And eventually the EPO Opposition Board did rule. They amended the patent, but the scope of the claims was substantially narrowed. And what was the end result? The university lost coverage of all embryonic stem cells. So sure, there was some coverage, but it was diminished. And it was a major PR faux pas. It really, people didn't like the thought that this university, those Scots, they're cloning humans. That really was what was not intended, they said, but that could have been construed that way. How did this come about? Well, let's review what traditionally has been done in terms of overseas filings. A traditional model which often is haphazard, inconsistent, and has results that are less than optimal. company or organization will create IP. This IP is then just often thrown over the wall to another, to a patent agent that deals with that, does the filing in country, and then they, if they're instructed to file overseas, they work with their particular related patent agents overseas. But every time we go over a wall, we're increasing exponentially the risk of not maintaining consistency in terminology between these different jurisdictions. And in fact, with larger organizations that are doing hundreds of filings annually, and that's not uncommon, many organizations are doing this now, they'll have multiple patent agents in these different countries. And between the patent agents, there's no collaboration in terms of style, consistent use of terminology. So all the way along in this particular process, we are actually introducing errors inadvertently because terminology hasn't been properly dealt with at the very beginning. The consistency is lessened. And then there is a greater number of office actions related to poor translations. It's harder to do the prosecutions. Finally, that increases the risk of litigation. Because of this haphazard, everyone's throwing over the wall type approach, that leads to the result of an increase in the total cost of ownership for that patent over the life of the portfolio. How is that? It's more cost and time for prosecuting the patent, greater number of office actions, longer delays, and there's an increased risk of litigation down the road. Now, this doesn't have to be. Let's look at a case history, Yokohama Rubber, which for years had followed this particular traditional model. And they had these types of issues, mechanical and linguistic inaccuracies in their overseas filings. There was a high number of non-substantive office actions and actually had a very poor reputation, unfortunately, with the U.S. Patent Trademark Office examiners. That's not a good way to get your intellectual property approved and get your particular protection in that jurisdiction. The time required for granting, particularly in the United States, was over 4 years, always, sometimes more than that. So this was a real cause of, this total cost of ownership actually altered their filing strategy. You have to live within the budget, so what happens? Well, attorneys aren't really practicing law as they'd like. Filings are made more with respect to budget limitations rather than maybe what's in the best business and legal interest of Yokohama Rubber. They looked at this very carefully and they said, okay, we've got to change this. How are we going to go about doing this? What should our goals be? They said, let's first eliminate the number of office actions that are related to translation issues. That's the first goal. Second goal, let's shorten the time to file overseas. Third, let's get our budget aligned so that our total cost of ownership for that patent is consistent with our business goals and interests in that jurisdiction. That allowed, the goal is that attorneys could have the freedom to practice law the way they wanted without those limitations. They moved to a centralized control model. And a centralized control model is following approach. Again, intellectual property is created as normal. And then they selected a very competent translation firm specialized in translating IP property. Happens to be MultiLing. So we worked with them in this particular regard. The work product is received, and then in one house, there are different language teams that have the capacity to evaluate and prepare terminology, style guides, set everything up properly for the customer, and then there's massive communication between different teams to make sure the terminology is correct. But that's just the start of the process, aligning the terminology and the styles. Obviously, the translations are done in country by skilled technical patent translators who've been vetted, trained years in this industry not only from a technical perspective, having those technical degrees, but vetted so they understand the particular nuances of patent law in those jurisdictions. So this is a hub and spoke model, and the work flows quite simply from that spoke there to each country, and when there's when maybe these people find something that should be altered or a question, the information is sent here, shared with all the teams, and everyone can act appropriately. And that happens frequently. That cooperation, I love the German word Zusammenarbeit. I don't know the best English equivalent. That helps make a higher quality product. The quality goes up, the consistency across all translations. And even in countries, this is what's important. Even when there are multiple agents there, particularly in the Asian countries, there's consistency across the agents. Consistency goes up, office actions drop, less risk of litigation related to patent problems, and there's been demonstrated a decreased total cost of ownership through the life of the patents. So say, okay, that's fine. That's something new. Actually, it's maybe new to many in this particular room during this conference, but it's been actually involved by several larger corporations over the last decade. I'm going to introduce a customer that both, let me go over the results here that Yokohama Rubber said. I think this statement speaks for itself. I haven't actually had that kind of compliment very often from an examiner. Now, I'm not a very big guy, so on the playground growing up as a grade school kid, I always was kind to everyone, particularly the bigger, more powerful guys. I was friends with everyone. The patent examiner you want to be friends with. You want to be on the good side. It doesn't pay to annoy them with poor quality work. And in fact, as this showed, higher quality work allowed Yokohama Rubber to get better results. Procter & Gamble, which is a customer that both Kyowa Patent and MultiLing have served for over a decade, has also gone through this particular process. And this is what they report. They have been able to increase the total number of filings 2 times. They've doubled it using this particular model with no increase in the total spend. I think that's an amazing statement. At the same time, there's across the board, patent agents in Asia and Europe report higher quality results. There's been a reduced administrative maintenance and data handling cost, and there's been shortened turnaround for that. And this has led to a reduction of the number of office actions related to patent issues. And what's also interesting is the actual numbers of employees working there involved in this. Their satisfaction is greatly increased. So it's been a win-win for all the parties. I firmly believe that it's important for specialists to focus on what they do well. That this is a best practice where patent law firms and agents focus on what they do well, where legal IP specialist translation companies focus on what they do well, and working together, side by side, you get a better result for the customer and as well as the industry. Why this is important is Hiro is now going to talk about the patent prosecution highway. And we're at a point where in order to implement the patent prosecution highway, a company really needs to be set up with its processes, structures in a way that allow uniform results with short amount of time to produce these high-quality translations in the target country. That requires a high level of sophistication and structure. And he'll explain how this goes about.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Hirohito Katsunuma. I came here to present you a new model of the new program. I'm sure everybody here will have a very useful information today. And as you know, it is important to have a consistency between the applications to various countries. And also, it is very important to have a short time to obtain the patent right. And also, it is very important to obtain the patent right with a very reasonable cost. So here, this is actual data. This is in USPTO. If you go through the PPH process, the grant rate become 87%. And normal, including PPH patent application, it is only 49%. So it is almost 60% or 70% increase in the grant rate. And next one, this is also actual data. In JPO, normally it takes 26 months after the request of examination to the first office action. But if you go through the PPH, it only takes 1.8 months. So what is this improvement in the pendency? So now, what is patent prosecution highway? I will call it PPH. PPH is an international framework based on the mutual agreements between two countries. And when the concept is this, when a patent application has been deemed allowable in the first patent office, then the applicant can apply a request for the PPH and enjoy the accelerated examination in the second country. But this PPH, I think many persons here knows about the word PPH, but there are roughly there are three kinds of PPH. It's orthodox PPH and PCT PPH and PPH mottainai. So it is very useful for everybody here to know that there are so many kinds of PPH we can use. This is an overview of the mutual agreements of the participating countries of PPH. Now we have 21 countries join this program, and this covered over almost 95% of the foreign applications in the total number of the foreign applications in the world. So orthodox PPH will be conducted based on the mutual agreement between two patent office. The concept is, yes, as I explained, once the first application is deemed allowable in the first patent office, then the applicant can enjoy the accelerated examination in the second patent office. So this is the some patterns of the orthodox PPH. You can see this is normal. The first application filed to the first patent office, then claim the priority to the and file the second patent application to the second patent office. Then the first application, if it is deemed allowable in the first patent office, then applicant can apply request for PPH with a very easy application. Then this second application can enjoy the accelerated examination. So you can use that in PCT route. the PCT route, this is normal. The PCT application file to the international phase, then go into the national phase. And for example, we can say the patent office ABC. Once this application deemed allowable in the first national designated patent office, then the applicant can apply a request for PPH and enjoy the accelerated examination. This one is another pattern. This also we sometimes do it. Apply domestic application to some patent office, then claim the priority and apply PCT. So if the first application deemed allowable, then this result can be used in PCT national phase, national application. And there's another kind of PPH we call PCT PPH. PCT PPH is used some product in the international phase. If the PCT application received a positive preliminary examination report or search report in the international phase, then you can use this result in each national phase. You can apply request for PPH. Then this one, this slide shows, because here is EPO, so I would like to mention some pattern of this. If PCT application, normally it can PCT go into go into EPO. So once this first PCT application receive positive result from the JPO or USPTO as the International Search Authority or Preliminary Examination Authority, then EPO application can use this result and request the PPH here. And also, if the search authority is EPO or preliminary examination authority is EPO, JPO or USPTO can use the result of this from EPO. So another kind of PPH is PPH mottainai. Mottainai is a Japanese word. This one is proposed by JPO, and the concept is that if one of the participating patent office examine the application and think this is allowable, then any countries of the participating patent office can enjoy the PPH program. Now there's 8 countries join this program: JP, US, UK, Canada, and Australia, and Finland, Russia, and Spain, and EPO. So PPH mottainai is illustrated here. So any patent office, if the application is deemed allowable, then you can apply PPH in any participating patent office. So the requirement is that at least I will point at the important point only. At least one claim is deemed by the first patent office to be patentable or allowable. Then you can apply the PPH. And also, the claims between the first patent office and the second patent office must be sufficiently correspond to each other. So it means that you need very instant translation between each countries. So this is a PCT PPH. I am going to skip this one. It's almost the same. The one request is at least one claim has to be deemed allowable in the international phase, then go into the national phase. So the merit of PPH is that we can reduce the times of office action, and also we can have the shorter time of, for obtaining the patent rights, and also high possibility of granting patent. So this is so how it will be difficult or easy to request PPH, but the answer is very simple. You can just file a request of the participating in the PPH program. This is a must, and this one also a must. Submit a table of corresponding claims, and others is normally can omit because the JPO, USPTO, EPO exchanging the data through the some digital data. So normally we just file these two only. Then you can enjoy the PPH program. So now I will show you all the statistics. JPO has this grant rate, 76.6% for granting patent. This one is including PPH, the average of all the applications. And you can see the high grant rate. In USPTO, you can enjoy 87%. And this is remarkable. JPO is just have a 1.8 months from the request of the PPH to the first office actions. Normally, if you don't go through PPH, it takes 26.3 months. And the USPTO, they need 4 months to receive the request of PPH. So a little bit higher, a little bit longer, but compared with the normal route, it is very short. Then this is the time to the final decision. You can see normal application takes 32.4 months, but if you go to PPH in JPO, it takes only 7 months, and USPTO as well, 33.8 months to 11.6 months, so different. And this is the time. This is time of the average number of the office action. JPO, it's not too much different, but still you can see the merit of PPH. So the grant rate, USPTO can enjoy 91%, and JPO can enjoy 95.4% of the grant rate. Now look at the average pendency from the request to the from the PPH request to first office actions. This is almost same, but this one is go through PCT PPH. PCT PPH also you can see so much different. And this is the final time to the final decision. Also, you can see so much different between the normal application and the PPH application. I would say PCT PPH application. And this is the number of the office actions. And now this is the numbers from JPO for JPO, which enjoy the PPH, PCT, PPH, look at this. JPO is the biggest patent office which use the PPH program. SIPO is a little bit, maybe a little bit behind, and USPTO also enjoy very much. So that's all. That's my presentation. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.
We're short on time. We'll just have about 5 minutes for questions. But this represents the best practice as we know it. The combination of a centralized model for handling the translations overseas filings combined with a PPH process gives substantial savings in time and cost and decrease in risk to the portfolio management and makes it smoother for all persons involved. If you have questions, we'll answer them.